trying to rush so that I could get on here.
No, it's fine. I'll talk to him now.
And let me go on to the website. So I added the recording is on the website, but I'm gonna wait until it looks better to actually post it on like social media and stuff.
Do I have to leave this running? Sorry, now I'm hearing audio from the live stream.
No, you have to mute it. Yeah. You can mute it. The YouTube.
Okay. Promote it. I think that's right.
Oh, I have a chat.
It's me. I sent you the link. It's just to you.
No, the pure chat.
Oh, really?
Oh, Victor's
It's
over.
Victor. Did you get it?
Okay, I'm gonna copy this and then. So, did you have any visitors?
I had 5. That's 5.
Nice. Well, you got busy then.
Yeah, I did get busy, and it was so funny. It was one after the other. Like one would drop off and another one would pop in. Like it was timed.
That happened. I noticed that.
But I never had multiple people on at the same time. I wonder why.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, it's good on there now.
Okay, should I stop sharing?
Yeah. Can you make me host, please, first?
Yeah.
Before you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're good to go on tonight's presentation. I tested the webinar with Sue, and I think that all the panelists can see the questions.
So how do we set the panel? Do I just set them when I start the meeting?
No, I already sent invites to Rick and Victor and myself.
Okay.
So I just added their email addresses.
I see that.
But you can also, if for some reason it doesn't work, you can go to their name on the participants and you can make them a panelist. Because I did that with Sue. I made her a panelist for a second to see if it worked.
Okay. So I can change it when we're in the meeting.
Yes. And if you need help, like sorting out questions and things like that.
So did you practice that with Sue?
Yeah, so she asked a question and I was able to, you can click answer live or answer right now, or you can do, I'm going to share my screen of sketches so that someone has something to look at currently. Okay, and.
So I should leave the YouTube thing open, right?
Yes, if you don't mind.
Okay, no, I don't mind.
Okay, all right, so yes, I tested it and you can either answer like live, so you can answer it at like, it'll show the question to the rest of the people that are on if you decide to answer it at that time. And you can also dismiss a question and it goes to, there's 3 different tabs. So you can organize them however you want. You can also show which questions you have already answered to the public. And it shouldn't be too complicated. It seems pretty simple, but I'll be on there and I can text you if you need help. So are you going to be like MC where you'll be like, oh, Rick, we just got a question, or like, do you need help with any of that? I added Victor as a panelist because I'm sure he'll like want to like add some comments and stuff. But I think even as a panelist, we don't have to speak, maybe, or you can also take me off from being a panelist, or whatever you decide.
Okay. Cool. I'll take a look at the settings too. All right. I'm gonna head out, okay? Gonna drop off.
Thanks.
Thanks, Brenda.
Yep.
Good luck.
Bye. Hi there. Are you on mute on purpose, or do you need me to unmute you?
I was on mute on purpose.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, I know. So, yeah, I know. It's just a lot of noise in the background of my house, typically because I have kids and stuff. So,
No worries. No worries.
if I have to say anything, thank you for checking, though.
Yeah, of course. Let me know if you have any questions.
Will do. Thank you.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, good. I thought maybe there would be a larger group on.
Oh no, we've been getting one or two at a time, and then people drop in and out.
Okay, all right. I was on earlier, so I won't stay on. I for some reason thought a big group was coming on at 3 o'clock.
Oh, that's a different meeting that Mary Frojo is hosting.
Okay.
That one is for that's a different link. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but she posted it on Neptune Strong. Is that the one you're looking for?
Yeah, yeah. All
Okay,
right,
she
Brent.
posted it on the Facebook page.
Okay. All right, Brent. I'll see you tonight at 6 then.
Yeah, no problem. See you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Try my computer audio.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
How's it going?
Well, yourself?
Good, good, good. Just working on some street improvement modeling here. Just modeling the existing conditions of A1A slash 3rd Street.
Very good.
Yeah.
You're modeling the existing right now?
Yes, and we will do a before and after of the conditions that are existing and what will happen, what we're proposing.
Cool.
Hey, Brenda, that's on the screen. Was that a concept? I see the YouTube thing that was on the left. Was that the roundabout render perspective?
Where do you see that?
Oh, I just was talking about on this, on the, I think it was on the main, before you click the virtual charrette, it has Open Design Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
This
is on the
so,
web page.
Yeah. So that's what Louisa was working on, and you will be able to
Oh,
see
okay.
that tonight. She'll be
Just was
presenting that.
Talking about on this, on the, I think it was on the main,
Mhm.
before you click the virtual charrette, it has Open Design Studio.
Oh,
This is on the web page.
Yeah. So that's what Louisa and you. Hi, can you hear me? I think we're having some issues with audio.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so
I just saw like a recording of me talking to you. I don't know if it was a delay, but yeah, that's what it was. I was trying to see the difference between the embedded YouTube window on the main page and then the join live meeting. So I take it you guys you're doing this and then it's recording the Zoom meeting in real time and being uploaded through YouTube.
Yes, so we're doing a live stream.
Okay.
So that people can see it, so they can watch it online on the website, and if they can't participate, they can just follow us as we design or join. If other people can join, then they can join and talk to us. But some people, if they're at work or having to do 2 things at once, they can just watch us from the YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a little behind, so sometimes it'll show like the conversation like a couple seconds later. Are you both planning to attend tonight's event?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
my goal.
Great. So that's where you'll be able to see some of the plans and illustrations that we have been working on the last couple weeks. And we'll show the pros and cons of each option. We'll break it down, and we'll also have diagrams that show how to use the roundabouts. So I'll share with you some of the preliminary, very rough sketches of what we're thinking about for improvements for 3rd Street A1A. Can you see my drawing here?
Yeah.
It's a red line. So what I'm modeling currently is the existing conditions. This helps so that people can see how we can actually fit these improvements within the existing right of way. A lot of times people don't understand that concept, and to them it's a little hard to visualize that we're only using that space allocated that is owned by the city or FDOT. So this is really helpful for them to visualize, and we'll do like a fade of, you know, the existing conditions and how it progresses and changes to the proposed conditions.
So question, your plan B, is M like multimodal? Is that like a bike, separated bike lane from a pedestrian lane?
Correct. So that would be something that you could, we call it a mobility lane, because it could be something that could be used for skateboards, it could be used for bikes, it could be used
anything
for
with wheels, basically.
Anything with wheels that is less than like let's say, you know, 20 miles per hour.
Yeah, bicycles, electric scooters, you know.
Correct.
I guess if somebody was on a Segway, but, you know, not golf cars.
Correct. And so
I love option B.
yeah, okay, great. So we're gonna show two different options. We realize that on-street parking is very important. We don't want to get rid of it entirely, but we also want to see how everybody responds to various different things. Since we do have some standards we have to follow from the FDOT's manual,
yeah.
we have those constraints, but we do want to work with, you know, making sure that we have enough space for pedestrians for it to be safe, and then also any trees and space enough for them to be healthy and grow. And
yeah, I like, you know, honestly, for 3rd Street, parking I don't think is a huge concern as far as parking on 3rd Street per se.
Okay.
On 1st Street, it's a completely different discussion. But more pedestrian and bike traffic to give up some parking spaces on 3rd, in my opinion, completely transforms that corridor, and I think it's, you know, well worth it. Because really, there's only a few spaces that get real serious use, and that's typically on the weekends at the town center.
I see.
But during, I mean, our police can give you the stats. A lot of cars that end up getting parked on 3rd Street and then getting hit by people not paying attention in the evenings and things of that nature.
Okay.
So that's just, you know, I guess, fun facts.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good to know. We are also, as you can tell, we are reducing the width of these lanes to try to reduce the speeds also of the, we realize that it's 35 miles per hour currently, but when we were there, and I'm sure you all know best, people tend to go faster. They
do, but you show me a road with a speed limit that people don't, you know, go faster on.
Right, exactly. So we want to design it so that people feel enclosed when they're driving, and option B really helps with that and option A, because if you have parked cars there, it'll help the drivers feel a little bit narrowed in so that they feel like they have to be careful, and then also knowing that there's crosswalks, and it probably will take a little adjustment for the people that are used to driving there, but for sure, new people, let's say people that are from Jacksonville, like the city, come in and they're like, okay, well, I guess I need to slow down here. It looks like
I mean, that's fantastic, because I think then it can also be pitched as when you enter Neptune Beach from Jacksonville Beach, or, you know, it gives you a greater sense of purpose and place and gives it a far more residential feel. And as we've heard through a lot of these charrettes, you know, maintaining our residential quality of life and our feel, this just, option B just shouts that from the rooftops, I feel like. And really puts the highlight on the pedestrian and the pedestrian safety and the pedestrians' quality of life, you know, at the forefront of the street design.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah, so we agree. And the median also still serves the same purpose as it currently, you will still be able to turn left into various streets. There are a lot of streets that intersect into 3rd Street. So we want to keep that like accessibility and not keeping like all the traffic up because of that. So here on the 15.5 median, you'll still be able to, it'll cut in and then you'll be able to have that left-hand turn, which is very similar to what already the existing conditions that are on A1A 3rd Street.
So would there be a reduction in some turn lanes to add more medians and to add more, I guess, crossing? And then my other question would be, what about crossings?
Yeah, so we'll probably have less of a distance for the stacking. So there's that space in the median.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I can pull that off actually as well. I can share that with you.
I don't think, I mean, honestly, for a lot of the turn lanes, you don't really need a lot of stacking. I personally, I'm east of 3rd on Hopkins Street. I go down 3rd Street almost every day. I really don't see a lot of stacking taking place to turn down the side streets because there's, you know, yeah, exactly.
Right. So probably something, you know, we'll try to get the minimum here and make sure that 1 or 2 cars can get in there, and then keep the medians as long as possible to have enough shade trees and landscaping in there to make an actual impact.
Could you head south a little bit on this map?
Yep.
Where am I?
So this was the library up here. We just passed it.
Yep, there's a touch of lag.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, it's all good. So we are looking at. Okay, yep, I know exactly where we're at. All right. So there's the library. So you have, you could scroll like 1 more block down. Yeah. So you can see all of these lanes where there's no landscape median whatsoever. So between Bay and Magnolia. And it's like that for most of the rest of the way south in Neptune Beach. What would we be doing there? Reducing, again, reduction of the size of the drive lanes?
Yes, the exact same condition. So I noticed that the right-of-way is pretty consistent along the entirety of the street. So we can, and it looks like it ranges from 100 to 102. So there's not a drastic change. So whatever we're proposing will potentially fit along the entire street.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So all it takes is a little bit of like readjustment, really. We want to make sure the public knows that we are not taking any part of their property, their personal private property. This is all going to stay within the right-of-way that's city-owned or FDOT owned. And
so basically, because the right-of-ways, the sidewalks come up almost directly to the property lines. So basically, we're just going from the edges of the sidewalks inward.
Right, correct.
So I think if you actually phrase it, when you're talking about your phrasing, we're staying in the right-of-way. Throughout Neptune Beach, just as for your knowledge base, right-of-ways will enter properties where it's people's yards and they've landscaped them and they've maintained them for 30 years. And actually, that's kind of right-of-way. So when you phrase it, hey, we're staying in the city right-of-way, people may get nervous and go, well, is that a large landscape portion of my yard? But in 3rd Street's case, you can safely make the statement, hey, we're staying on, the edges of the sidewalks inward. Minus maybe a foot here or there, but there's no, grabs per se.
Yeah, okay, that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Because that phrasing, people go, oh, so the sidewalks inward, not a problem. Versus them going, and get my survey out and see where my property line is, because what if,
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Brenda, did you get the concepts from Jim where they were planning on doing either RRFBs or hawk signals on 3rd Street? My understanding is there's a plan on Bay to do a high emphasis crosswalk with the RFB. And obviously I think there's one, we've talked about the Lemon Street, and I think that's part of the broader, concept of connecting, Lemon.
East and west.
East and
Property,
west,
but
right.
I'm wondering if you had where there would be potential mid-block pedestrian crossings anywhere.
Yeah, I think that's very important. We'll have a separate map that actually addresses those east to west crossings on 3rd Street and locating exactly where those would be.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we want to make sure also that whatever we address is going to be hand in hand with whatever we propose for the future of the street. So we don't want to react to what's currently there, because we know there's an opportunity for it to improve. So any new reactions to crossings will be based on those new proposals for new street design.
Perfect. So we're not getting distracted by what they may be doing for the short term. This is like, holistically, this is one cohesive, well thought out plan.
Yes, that's the goal. I think short term, what they're proposing is great. I think it'll help with safety, and that's probably the most important thing right now. And
right.
In the long term, when this design comes up and we can show like we're actually proposing safe crossings in those areas too, and with a shorter distance of people having to cross too. So that's the most important thing, is making sure that people don't have to cross 5 lanes or 6 lanes. We want to make it as short as possible, and also having some refuge areas, some medians that they can stand at if they need to, like when we show a roundabout. That's what's really important too, is having this islands that people can stand and kind of take a moment and see if the other side of the street is safe to cross.
Very cool. Yeah,
this year.
Are those, when you say hawks, are you talking about those big, massive things that get like cantilevered over the road?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask. Obviously, I think.
I mean, we're not a highway, and with these changes, we're even less of a highway.
What's the desired future state? Not to make a plan based off of what we think is going to be just maybe some short-term things. I think that's a little bit concerning, but I do believe that what I've heard is that the state has some, or at least the district was having some reservations about RRFBs. There's some stuff in the legislature. I don't think it's going to go anywhere even next year, but I think the thought process was with here along 3rd Street, which you have higher volume road, that the hawk signal may be more optimal, but we have to see how that works out. I think there's some opportunity there to discuss options. I mean, I think hawks can be really good in certain contexts. They certainly do. They're effective, but in some cases there's a little bit of a learning curve. So it just depends on what's the direction that the state feels more comfortable with it, given the volume of the roadway here. But I do know that he had initially said they wanted to do RFBs potentially at 2 locations, just like, in the next year. But now the other issue too with hawk signals is they're exorbitantly more costly than the RFB. So we have to see which direction that they want to go in that. But I just wanted to ask Brenda if that she had any of that information as a base.
Yeah, we do have that information. So I'll show you right now. We're really focusing mostly on I'll show you on the map. On the section from Lemon Street to Atlantic Boulevard. So the proposal that we're doing, that I showed you, is really focused on Lemon Street up to Atlantic Boulevard there. And the cross section that I'm showing is right about here in the middle. So in plan view, we'd probably have to add any of those improvements and see how those work right at the intersection there. So James is actually working on a model, and it actually connects Lemon Street here. And we talked about that at our pinup yesterday, is how do we include that information in that model?
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Brenda, you probably love when people hop in like this and completely hijack your workday.
It's okay.
But when you come down, this is all super exciting. So I love this stuff. So when you come down Atlantic Boulevard and you enter the town center, so your next, nope, a little bit higher up.
So is that to the east?
That's see the intersection? Yeah, right there. So if you're coming from west to east, driving towards the ocean, we've had a problem rather consistently with drunk drivers, almost exclusively drunk drivers, but I mean, we have it, the chief can tell you better, but we've had 4 or 5 in the last, I'd say 3 or 4 years, some fatalities and some really bad wrecks where people come flying at 50 miles an hour because they're speeding from west to east, and they don't realize when they enter the town center to about that first brick pavered crossing you can kind of see. Keep going a little bit more. Nope. Keep going. No, not that crossing. The next one in. It's not striped very well. Right there. Yeah, that's where people have their like, oh crap moment. I'm in a built up area, and they end up slamming on the brakes, or there's monuments there on the north and south side of the road, one that says Atlantic and Neptune. The Neptune one's been hit so many times, we don't actually have any more bricks to replace the bricks, and we're going to have an issue when it gets hit again, making it match, because we've had to salvage so much material. I mean, it's been hit 3-4 times. And then we've had situations where people reach that area, they don't hit the monument, and they realize they're in a built-up area. And I was in the restaurant, Coop 303, up on the balcony to the north, and I saw a car come in there, enter going probably 60 miles an hour. It was damp out. They slammed on their brakes, and their car went sideways and crashed into another car in front of Hawkers. But if this were a standard weekend and it hadn't been raining and drizzling, you would have had a significant amount of pedestrians in front of Hawkers and Flying Iguana, which is just slightly more east of where your cursor is. So has there been thought about that intersection, deflecting cars or creating some type of, yeah, I see you smiling.
So let me share you. So I'm working on a couple streets, actually. The next street I have that I'll share with you is Atlantic. And this street section is a draft. This is actually changing completely now. What we're going to do is, because we saw that A1A 3rd Street and Atlantic Boulevard have very similar right-of-ways in most of the street. We're actually going to propose the same conditions for both streets. So this is what we have existing here. we have a very small, narrow sidewalk and planting strip on both sides. So this is Atlantic Beach side and this is Neptune Beach side here. So this is looking towards the beach.
Okay.
And this is what
you guys should write above that palm tree beach. The ocean is right here.
Yeah.
Or Neptune side, Atlantic side, delineate that because I think people get confused.
Yeah, I will. We will. Yeah, this is internal. But so these were sections that I was working on, but after we talked a little bit more and we realized that, you know what, why don't we just make both conditions the same, where we can propose the same thing. Can you see the third A1A now?
I see A and B still.
Okay, here, let me share the other one. So we realized that we can propose the same thing on Atlantic, actually.
Okay, there you go.
That's good.
So, yeah, because
I like it. Go ahead, Fred.
I've got a 345. I love it. I'll see you guys.
Thanks, Fred.
See y'all.
Again, I love B.
Keep going big.
So
Keep going
fun.
big. That's what we want. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are going to propose the same conditions for Atlantic, and we have to work a little bit more on what the intersection actually will look like because it gets narrower at the intersection. But overall, we think that this will help reduce a lot of the speeds and the issues that you have, and people will start seeing and feeling enclosed, like we talked about earlier. They won't have so much open space to drive really fast. And another thing is, I'm actually going to make this be here where it says 11 feet for the lane. I'm going to make that 10. So that helps. I'm going to make this lane here. I'm going to propose that being 10 here. So that for version B.
That's cool.
Yeah. So these are very rough sketches. It's going to look a lot nicer.
This is cool though. No, I love this because honestly, B, especially on 3rd Street, that's what I had pictured in my head.
Great.
But I didn't realize in my head that you could shorten all of those turn lanes, keep them, just shorten them, and then add all that new landscaping and then all that quality in there. I didn't even think of that in my head. I had thought, hey, bike lane, stealing some lane widths, stealing some parking, bringing it in, having dedicated bike and pedestrian. I had kind of thought that right, but the middle completely escaped me on what to do there. And so being able to keep all the turn lanes and beautify it, that's awesome.
Great.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we're really excited. Ever since we first went to Neptune Beach, we knew the potential that there was, 3rd Street had. There's so much space, and I feel like with the community, hopefully, if they have ideas or if we get consensus on this, I think everybody coming together and talking to FDOT, I think that would speak volumes.
And we have a lot of stormwater projects in the works for 3rd Street and east of 3rd and stuff. So the thing's getting ripped up anyway, and we have, we have to figure out how we're going to put it back. You put it back the same way you found it. You're already spending the money to put it back. Why not put it back in a way that's fantastic?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Glad you like it. So we are addressing Atlantic. Yeah, to answer your earlier question, we are addressing it. It's going to be the same, one of the same proposals here, because it has the same right of way, like I mentioned. I'm also going to be working on a proposal for Penman Road.
Cool.
Jacksonville said that they have actually sent out an RFP to get find someone to design a complete street. So that we have a little bit more flexibility. We are not constrained by FDOT requirements. And yeah, I'm excited to work on that too.
That is exciting. Are you guys going to be applying for that?
I don't know, actually. I am not sure. I don't know if there will be a conflict of interest or not, because we're already working on the Neptune.
You guys will have your fingers in the pie.
Yeah, yeah, but we'll definitely show it on Friday night, and we can definitely attend any of the future meetings and be there to help however we can.
Yeah, what I think is really neat about 3rd Street, especially 3rd Street, the 3rd Street project, first, this isn't, we're going to put it on paper and hopefully it'll come to fruition in 10 years or 15 years. It's like, no, this is happening. This is in the next, we need to know what's going on, because our goal is that in, 16 months, we're going to be starting on our roadworks and our stormwater. And hopefully FDOT's a partner in this, but we're off to the races.
Yeah. So can I show you something that we worked on for another project, just so that you can get an idea of what this will look like?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, let me do that. So don't get scared.
I'm checking my calendar real quick to make sure I'm not in trouble on something.
Okay.
I got another 15 minutes.
Okay, I just want to show you really quick. This is what we did for Panama City. We worked on their downtown master plan. Mm-hmm. So this is what the existing conditions look like for a street called 6th Street there.
Okay.
And then we did a proposal where it had a bike lane, a separated bike lane. So that'll look similar to what we're proposing for on option B. So see the sidewalk here and the bike lane, and then you have the tree well. So that's what it'll look like. Disregard the buildings. We're not, that's not what I want to show you.
Cause a lot of panic.
No. I just wanted to show you what it would look like. If
that's cool.
With the sidewalk and the bike lane or mobility lane and the trees and planting strip. And you can also here, you can see that the tree wells, we can have little spaces for people to cross to. So that's about the level of detail that we'll be getting into. So don't look at the buildings. This is just an example.
That's fantastic.
For the record, for everyone watching.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's what I'm working on right now. Is I'm going to model the existing conditions, and then we will have another proposed model that shows what it'll look like. And yeah. I think you are frozen. Okay, I think you're back. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, I think there's just a lag on the system. We're getting some rainstorms here, so I know my internet.
Oh, okay.
It's like we're in the 90s for something that, bad weather comes and your internet slows down.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, I'm glad that you like those options. That's really good to hear.
B had won, I think, both of us over, so there you go.
Hey.
Fantastic. Well, hey, this is awesome. I'm even more excited than I was before, but I'll get out of your hair and let you get back to it.
Can I just take one picture of us talking really quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm going to do that just because we want to keep it for our records.
Yeah, not a problem.
All right, great.
Put up your sketch if you're screen grabbing it. Put up your sketch of 3rd Street.
Okay, let me do that. Okay.
That's a better, got to think about these things.
Yeah, good point. Good point. All right. Is it up? Do you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep. Awesome. Very cool.
Thanks so much.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.